This computer. Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday, February 13th, and welcome to the crew call. I'm Lauren, one of the leaders from the crew, and super excited tonight to be chatting about leadership and leadership in your Team Beachbody business. And my special guest this evening is the lovely lady with this beautiful baby on her shoulder, Kim Pratt, who is a one-star diamond coach in my downline and recently just attended the 2018 New Leader Conference. So this is a conference that happens once a year within Team Beachbody and is an invite-only event. So it's an event that they invite like the emerging leaders within our business to come and to learn. And it's like a notch above kind of what you would learn at Summit, and it focuses in on team building and learning how to mentor your team and duplicate your efforts. And basically, I just wanted to have Kim share some of the things that she learned at this conference over the weekend. So Kim, we can kind of do this like a little bit as a Q&A, and then I can just leave it open-ended to you just to share like your biggest takeaways from the event. So if you want to just start and give a little bit of an overview of who you are, kind of like what your life is like, how long you've been Beachbody coaching, all of that fun stuff.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So hi guys, I'm Kim. I'm a mom of two. This is my new little one. She will be 4 months old next week, and I have a 3.5-year-old. I also work full-time as a speech therapist, and I've been coaching since August of 2015. So my life is very, very busy, but coaching has brought me a lot of happiness and joy, especially working in the schools. Sure, a lot of you guys know that there's just so much crap that we deal with on a daily basis. So knowing that when I come home, I have the opportunity to help women and some men achieve their health and fitness goals and really just like be happier, and just knowing that I have this opportunity to be able to earn extra income and extra spending money for my kids has been really awesome. So like Lauren said, I went to this leadership event this weekend. It was in California, which, you know, I live in New Jersey, so that was difficult in itself. But it was a really amazing experience. And honestly, like if any of you guys are really considering this business as an opportunity to, whether you're trying to pay off debt or you're trying to make extra money or, you know, save money for your children's college funds or whatever your goals are, I would say that this New Leader Conference should be on your vision board or, you know, your goal list, because it really was an awesome, weekend. We learned so much from Melanie Mitro and from Bonnie Engel and from Kim Fitzpatrick, who is Jamie Fitzpatrick's wife. Jamie Fitzpatrick, if you don't know, was a top 10 coach last year. So it was cool because Summit is so big and I feel like very general. Sometimes you don't get like super specific information. Whereas this, Melanie Mitro literally went through her day-to-day activities. She went through how she organizes her calendar. Like it was very specific, and the most actionable items that I've probably, aside from one of the Playbook Live trainings, probably the most actionable items that I've ever gotten from, you know, a Beachbody event, which was really cool.
Awesome. So I know you mentioned definitely like things that were actionable, and I know that you were sharing within our team page that a lot of that had to do with Instagram. And Instagram, at least for our team, has been a little bit of like a secondary channel, maybe something that you post on, but there's definitely been an evolution within having stories and polls and features like that. So, and I know that you've been a little resistant to Instagram in the past. We've had these conversations one-on-one. So I'd love for you just to share kind of what you learned about Instagram as a whole from these top coaches.
Absolutely. And if you guys are interested, I didn't take a lot of video just because like I figured my phone was going to fill up. But the one video I did take of at Leader at this conference was the video of Bonnie Engel talking about Instagram. So I think it was, I can't remember who it was that did a national wake-up call probably a few months ago. Jatana Jackson, right? Yes. Yeah, so he did a thing about Instagram and how Instagram has really was kind of emerging. And part of it is because it's, just pictures, it's less words, it's less opportunity for political views and fighting and spamming. And although we still get a lot of spam, there's just, there's a lot of really good things coming out of Instagram. The thing is that's also hard and it's different. And sometimes, I'm truly an example of, I was very resistant. I had always used Instagram. I've been on Instagram since it started, but I never really used Instagram to grow my business consistently. If anything, I was posting exactly what I was posting on Facebook. And I mean, honestly, the same people that I was friends with on Facebook, I was friends with on Instagram. So it wasn't really reaching new people, and it wasn't really doing anything for me. I go back and forth with, I'm going to use hashtags all the time, and I'm going to, really focus on Instagram, and then I kind of fall off the wayside. And it wasn't until Bonnie Engel, who, we all know is a top 10 coach multiple times, came on stage over the weekend and said, as of December, she was not really using Instagram. She wasn't really using Insta stories. She really was resistant to using Instagram because it's just not what she knew. She was always very comfortable with Facebook. She had a humongous following on Facebook. And so she kind of just shared with us how she had been using Instagram. She realized that she was already a micro influencer is what she calls herself and other people. So basically what that means is that she had a pretty decent following, and she would share maybe the shirt that she was wearing, or, the makeup that she was using, or her big one is the eyelashes and the wands that she uses for her hair. And she realized that a lot of people were coming to her page because they wanted to know what she was using. And so she realized that she had this ability to influence other people and to share with them, and that she was reaching so many people by tagging, a motherhood maternity store, or, the fact that she was wearing these lashes or whatever. And so she realized that she was really very organically reaching people just by geotagging and by tagging, things that she was wearing and products that she was using. And she said that in December, she wasn't really using Instagram consistently enough. And in January, she recruited 40 coaches, and 85% of them were from Instagram, and were from using Insta stories. And she said the most important part was really looking into your hashtags and finding hashtags that are about you right now. So she said, they're going to evolve, they're going to change. For me, I was using pregnancy ones, but now I have the baby, so now I'm using postpartum ones. And she said that when you are using hashtags that have to do with you right now, and not just generic mom hashtags, but specific 14-week-old specifics, you're then targeting people and discussing or connecting with people who are in the same season of life that you are. And that was a really kind of seemed like an obvious sort of thing, but it's true. I mean, if I want to help new moms postpartum get back to, their pre-baby weight or pre-baby jeans like I am, I need to use hashtags that they're going to be using. Yeah. And I found that, I know it's kind of seems pretty obvious, but it was just oh, yeah, you're right. Bonnie Engel is trying to talk to women who are pretty far along in their pregnancy and are preparing to have a baby. And so she's talking to them. And then she's staying on their radar for when they do have the baby. She will be the person that they go to when they're ready to maybe commit to a health and fitness routine.
Yep, that's great. And I guess okay, so you're realizing from the numbers and from her that she's shifting her business and starting to do new things with Instagram. So kind of what's your this week takeaway of what you are going to plan to do for Instagram as a result?
Using Insta stories as more of a call to action and using the polls more consistently. So I found myself like, I like the idea of using the polls, but I didn't necessarily know how to use them for like calls to action. And basically she said that your Insta story should really be the glimpse in your life. And she said you should focus it on 4 to 5 topics. So if you're a mom, if you have dogs, as a health and fitness coach, maybe if you drive a Jeep, like things like, if you attend church. So it shouldn't just be your workouts. It shouldn't just be your mom, but you really should stick to 4 to 5, no more than 5 topics or themes of what you are, because once again, you're trying to connect with those people that are in the same season as you. And so to really use it as sort of your documentation of what you're doing throughout the day. And every month she does a 3-day coach sneak peek on her Insta stories, which I thought was super cool. So rather than necessarily doing she might do a Facebook sneak peek like what we do, where it's like that hour-long call, but she'll tag back and forth between the Instagram and the Facebook. So she's not creating double content. She's running it all at the same time. That way she's still reaching her Facebook people. She's also reaching new Instagram people as well. And she basically does a 3-day day in the life of a coach, working out, drinking your shake, doing PD, connecting with people on social media, and all day she's going to be peppering in little calls to action. And I thought that was really cool, because I know that we always talk about like doing these sneak peeks and maybe like an hour-long call isn't always going to be conducive for somebody that wants to have that information right away, or, isn't on Facebook or whatever the case may be. So Insta stories allows you to be a little bit more laid back about it and to discuss like, this is really what I do. Because I feel like with this sneak peek, we don't go into too specific because we don't want to overwhelm people and do like a 4-hour-long call of everything that we do. But on Insta stories, you have these 30-second snippets that you can really show what you're doing as a coach, and people can really see what you're doing as opposed to just hearing about, well, what does helping people mean? What does connecting with people mean? You're showing them what that means. And I thought that was really cool.
Definitely. And I think just from what I have seen other coaches do, especially like Jatana and Melanie and Bonnie, is really leveraging the poll option and asking, I think it's important to ask questions just to get a gauge on like who's following you and what they think about, like if they're kind of like you. So for me, like yesterday morning, I did a poll that I was like, I friggin' struggle in the morning, like waking up, showering, doing my hair, doing a workout, all of this. And like, I literally put a poll up and I was like, am I alone? Like, do you struggle in the mornings too? Literally just like asking, because I generally wanted to know. And had like over 150 people respond and saw that a lot of people struggled like me. So I was like, okay, that means like I'm relatable.
Absolutely. And I think that with Instagram, with graphics, with good quality pictures and polls, and you're just being engaging, and through pictures, they'll see who you are. Whereas with Facebook and, there's so many words and you're like writing all this stuff and everyone just keeps like passively scrolling, because we all know that like if you write too much, if within the first 2 sentences, if you don't have their attention, and they're just going to keep scrolling. But a picture is definitely going to catch their attention. And because there's these teeny little snippets on Insta stories, you can kind of capture their attention, because it's not going to be this like long drawn out, thing that they have to read, when after all day, that's what they've been doing, is like reading and working and stuff. It's an opportunity to show everyone what we do as coaches without them necessarily having to like do anything.
I agree. And I think I've heard Melanie say this too. It's like, I think that a lot of us coaches that have been doing this for a few years, it's like we were always kind of ingrained of like the posting 3 to 5 times a day and doing this and that. And like, in my opinion, Instagram is different. Like I am posting on there once a day as an actual post, and it better be a good post.
Yeah. And that's what they said. Yep. And using Insta stories to really be documenting the day-to-day the stuff throughout the day, what you're eating, what you're, like things like that, those more relatable things that you're going to connect with people. And then once again, that's when you're geotagging, that's when you're checking in and at restaurants or towns, or, that's when you're using a specific hashtag, or, so that's when you're really connecting with people, because now that they have that search option where you can search for tags and you can search for people like you, and vice versa, you can be searching for, when you use a certain hashtag, that's when you can then go in and search for, search for people that are also using that hashtag. But I think it was, I don't remember her name, Lauren, but just making sure that you're like looking up what your hashtags that you're using, and making sure that, they're not just health and fitness related, but that they're specific to you. So not specific to coaching, because then you're just going to end up being, followed by a ton of coaches.
Yeah.
And so, or not do, like Bonnie said, like when she first started Instagram, she would do like things like, hashtag, I'm tired, hashtag, so I need to take a nap, hashtag, but my dog needs to go for a walk. Like kind of like telling a story in hashtags, but like nobody's actually using those hashtags.
It takes a little bit of research, and that's
I
think that people are just like, either you go too vague and too broad, or like way too specific. So I feel like we've had conversations before where you've been like, well, I don't know what hashtags to use. And I'm like, write it in your phone and look it up and see if people are doing it.
Yeah.
So it's literally just taking the time to go through and go in your phone and Instagram and just start typing things.
Yep.
And see how many people are typing in those other things, but then also the types of posts that are coming up. Like, is it a bunch of other companies that are using the same hashtags? Or is it like other people like you, or is it other Beachbody coaches? Because if it's other Beachbody coaches, you probably don't want to do that either.
Yeah, like for me, like Hot Mess Mom was one I always used, and like Hot Mess Express, because I mean, that's what I am. And that's kind of like what people tag me in, like Target Mom, that's what people always tag me in. But now those are very common ones that if you go on some of them, you'll see like you could scroll and like it's all coaches. And so I don't use those anymore. And the important thing Bonnie mentioned is you need to be updating your hashtags. Whereas before it used to be like, I have this list in my notes section and I would just copy and paste every time I put any post up. But now it's like, no, you need to be changing them. So like you might have hashtags specific for if you're a mom and, you're talking about for your kids. So you're going to have, a list maybe for those hashtags, or, if you're talking about a mom post, if you're talking about a fitness post, like being really methodical. And yes, it does take time at the beginning, but then you are able to really connect with people that are like you. You're not then connecting just with any random person that's a mom. You're connecting with a mom who also identifies as one with a 14-week-old baby girl or something. Like, you're talking to people that are more specifically like you, and you're more likely to be able to make a good connection.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So other than Instagram, what else do you feel like you learned from this?
And this is not sexy at all, but compliance actually came on stage, the head compliance guy. And it was very interesting. I didn't realize that, we as Beachbody coaches have access to like an amazing compliance team. And one of the things that they mentioned, and I think this is something we all should really know, is that if we're ever struggling with maybe scheduling a post or talking about the business or talking about the income, that you can send them your post or what you would like to say, and they'll help you. So they really want to be proactive. They don't want to get anyone in trouble, or, have issues. They really want to help people. And they also really want to avoid, having any of the issues that maybe some of these other MLMs have occurred, which, like LuLaRoe has had some issues, Herbalife had issues. A lot of these companies have had a lot of issues because of income disclaimers and promises that were made. And so they really want to make sure that we as coaches take this as a very professional thing. We are professional. We all own our own business. We don't have a boss, but we do have an obligation to maintain that level of professionalism. And I thought that was really cool. Like, it was just one of those things that the way he presented it and the way that he talked about what we do and what we have to offer as coaches, was like, yeah, you're right. Like, we are better than a lot of other maybe companies that, are trying to poach Beachbody coaches or, things like that. And he also said that their department has a really great relationship with a lot of the other compliance teams of the other MLMs, not just health and fitness, but other MLMs in general. And so if we ever have an issue with another MLM, that we should reach out to them because, we as Beachbody professionals want to make sure that we're staying on the side of class. And I thought I just thought that was really cool. And I felt like it needed to be mentioned that we have a really great team that will help support all of us that I didn't know that we necessarily had. I thought that they were there to just get us in trouble if we some disclaimer, but really they're there to help us. So we all should use them if we feel like we're struggling maybe.
That's great.
Yeah. And then Melanie Mitro just shared her calendar and the way that she schedules things out. And I'm planning to type everything up, but I really liked the way she schedules out her day. And so the way she schedules it out for the month. And she starts with first, when she's planning her challenge group, she always looks at what the challenges might be for the month, whether it's a holiday coming up, whether it's, spring break. And, remember, she's talking to moms and she knows that, a lot of moms are going to have their kids home. So starting a challenge group on spring break probably won't be a good thing. And so she looks at all the challenges and maybe the interferences that might occur within the week. And then she puts in any sort of obligations that they have. And she kind of just goes in throughout the month and peppers in every little thing. And she says, it seems a little bit overwhelming at first, but it ends up making the month so much easier. And I don't know about you, but I've always really wanted to get on a calendar and to really get specific with what I need to do. So that way, when I'm going to work my business hours, I'm not like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to scroll because I didn't really plan anything. She just gave it such specifics that you don't have to think about it, which is nice. It's instead of someone saying oh, you just have to schedule it out. It's like, no, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. And it's obviously working for her.
Yeah.
So I will certainly share that information. I really liked the way that she broke everything down, and and it worked for somebody who's a stay-at-home parent. It worked for somebody who's working full-time. So I like that.
That's great. Okay, I'm just staying cognizant of the time, and I wanted this to be around half an hour. So to close it out, I know that you and I talked a lot just about how you were kind of inspired afterwards, how this was one of the best events that you feel like you've gone to, especially in terms of looking at how to grow this and treat it really like a business. So I was really inspired just by what you said to me and the fact that you saw a bigger picture with all of this. So if you could just give a little glimpse of that, or just how you felt when you were flying home on Sunday and what you feel like you can really do with this in 2018.
Yeah, so I kind of struggle with live events sometimes, because sometimes I go to live events and maybe I might be the only person that feels this way. But I see so many people in one room and I look around and think, oh, well, there's no way that I can help anyone. There's so many coaches. How is it possible that, why would anyone choose me when there's this sea of coaches? But I don't know, it was something about this leadership event, and it was a really eye-opening experience in that we have an amazing opportunity at our fingertips, in that we don't have to spend a ton of money to create this this business. but we have so much training and so many resources, and a CEO that literally will do anything for you. Like the fact that he, we got a tour of Beachbody headquarters, and he literally has a hallway that when he walks in every day, and he just writes on the wall quotes. And like, they showed us the gym and how nice they are to all of their employees. And it's just like, we are part of such an amazing company, and there's just a bigger picture. And it helped me realize that like, there are so many people that do need our help. And people like you, and even though I'm a mom, people who don't have children, like there are people for everyone, but there are so many people that need our help. And it goes just beyond like wanting to lose weight. It's knowing that Lauren saying yes to an opportunity and talking to her friend Ashley and talking to me, I have this beautiful baby because of changing my health and fitness. Like that's bigger than a workout and a shake, and I think one of the things I really got out of this is really listening to the stories of other people. And I know that Jimmy says that a lot, but like collecting stories and being that story collector for when another mom that you're talking to, or a woman that wants to be a mom and is struggling with PCOS, that you can come to me or share my story. Or if you're talking to, a woman who was struggling in corporate America and wanted freedom to travel and then met the love of her life through traveling, talk to Lauren. Like we have so many stories to share. We just have to be willing to listen and we have to be willing to share them. And not everybody's willing to do that. But if you are willing to get a little bit uncomfortable, I think that we have an amazing opportunity. And it just reminded me of that this weekend.
I love it.
Sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, I loved it. Thank you. I think you did a great job at it. Okay, cool. So thank you so much for sharing. Definitely appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions like overall about the event or about coaching in general or Instagram stories or anything? I'm happy to answer them.
Tamara, I see you say, I always used to think because I have no children, no one could relate to me. Well, ironically enough, my coach, Ashley, that was one of the first things I said to her was, I didn't think that she would be a good coach to me because she doesn't have children, and I did. And ironically enough, she is the best coach that I could ever imagine. I couldn't imagine having anybody different as my coach. And I thought she wouldn't get me, but honestly, she gets me. I don't think that you have to be in the exact same place as the person just to help them.
And I definitely agree too, because I'd say the majority of the women that I help are moms, and I'm not a mom yet. I think a lot of the times you can try to be talking to yourself or to people like you, and sometimes it's just people that relate to you or maybe that were like you at a different point in their life or want to become more like you. So I think it's just being true to you and authentic and all of that, and you're going to attract who you attract.
Yeah, absolutely. How do we
shoot workout moves on?
I did learn this weekend.
So, okay. So first off, I'm going to be honest, you can Google a lot of this stuff. And with being a business owner, you can just Google how to do things. But in terms of stories themselves, like when you open it up and go to the camera, if you zoom or go over to hands-free and hold it down for 3 seconds, it will be a timer that you can time yourself doing moves. And if you have any other questions about like how to do things specifically on IG or like do the polls or the filters and stuff, like I usually just go to Google first and then I like test it out.
That's what I did. That's how I've learned. They're still pretty bad, but I'm getting better. And honestly, I was watching YouTube videos on how to use Instagram and I felt like an old lady. But yeah, use it. And there are specific YouTube videos for, network marketing or, for direct sales, for using Instagram, for using Facebook, there are so many resources. There are people out there that want to help you. You just have to be willing to go and watch them and apply them. And I'll leave it at this. Like Carl said, like a decision is only, an intention is, what did he say? Basically, like, sorry, like an intention is great, but like you have to make the decision and actually do it. And application is what's going to, help you. So don't wait until it's perfect. You just have to look into it, watch the videos, apply it, see if it works, scrap it if it didn't, try it again, and keep going until you find something that works. What works for Lauren won't work for me and won't work for Wade. So you just really have to see what's going to work for you. And then when you find it, go with it until it doesn't work for you anymore. And then you revamp it.
Yep. And I think at the end of the day, like doing something half-ass is better than not doing it at all. So
Absolutely.
Just do it and you'll figure it out along the way, which is the nice thing.
Which is what we've all done, right?
Yep, pretty much. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to call it. Thanks so much, Kim, for taking time to share these awesome tidbits from the New Leader Conference. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in and everyone who watched the replay. We will talk to everybody next week. Bye.